Okay, once again, today is May 4th, 2020, and I'm going to do a reading by request on The Boy in the Box. Now, if you're not familiar with the case, literally, if you just type into any search engine, cold case boy in the box, you'll draw it up. But don't worry, I'll put in some links down below. I am familiar with this case because if I could have had my druthers, detective work appeals to me. I love a mystery. And I also have a great deal of empathy for people that have been victimized and been through an ordeal in their lives. So I hate injustice. I hate it with a passion. And I just think it drives me nuts. The world could be a better place, and people just don't want to let go of their fear and their ignorance. I'm knocking the camera around. That's beer. Air is knocked out. Tarot kitty. Tarot cat. Of this tarot channel, of Maya's Tarot. Look what a mess I have over here. Oh, this bed rest, I probably will not be off of it, you guys, until really fall. I've been on it since right after Christmas. That's how long these suckers take to heal. And I have to move. I have to move. My poor husband. In the meantime, I want to get the F out of where I'm living and go someplace more quiet, more secluded. Not on a corner and not across the street from a school or near a sewer. Things you learn. All right, let's see now. We want to do the boy in the box. I'm just going to try to dial into his energy so you can join me. Let's just think of him and ask him and the universe and the ancestors, his spirit, the spirit of truth, the spirit of justice, the spirit of the tarot, and the spirit of compassion and mercy, who this child was, and what we need to know about his life, with all due respect to him. Sorry. I hate it when my hair sticks in my lip gloss. Okay. Boy in the box. Now, I am not remembering just offhand what state it was. Something made me think northeast somewhere, but regardless, I'm trying to sink into, and pardon the wound back there, I'm trying to sink into that energy. Would be more of a mediumistic read. And true crime. Okay. So we ask the Creator and Spirit to help us understand what we need to understand about this poor child that was found in a box, discarded, deceased. What do we need to understand about him? How he got in the box? What was going on with his life, his family, whatever. Let's take a look at that. Oh, and I may end up doing more than one reading because that's a lot of questions. That may not be as clear if I didn't just break it down and ask each of them directly. Okay, so first off, we want to know who he was. What can you tell us about him, about his character, and how we got there? Well, we get the Knight of Wands. In the atmosphere. We get the Eight of Wands crossing as a challenge. This is definitely energy that is being directed toward. My concern is that it could be violence. But it could also be the activity that went on to dump him. This is murder. This is not a natural death. And this is what the reading is based upon. And we're looking time-wise at this having been done, and I think this being the dumping of him. I believe there's a woman involved, or somehow that features, that crowns him. An adult woman. There was a lot of drama. I don't think his mother was emotionally stable. There's a lack of stability in his life. She may have even had a tendency toward drink or substance abuse. Or she may have also, in addition to those things, had mental illness also. Physical, mental, actual imbalance. And that's not unusual. Many times people who have mental illnesses try to self-medicate. So I see an instability, and I feel like there's abuse here, like physically, like harsh. But let's see here. And there's a King of Wands. Perhaps this was the man that found him. Now, I'm not sure if it was a man that found him. But this does show a male. By this point, he's already deceased. He's showing me he's already been deceased. He's had an abusive childhood with I think where that features, if it's not his mother, it could be been some sort of guardian or caretaker who may have not been mentally, emotionally stable and may have had an addiction problem. He looked at death as a release. I also believe that he bore the brunt of a lot of her emotional imbalance outbursts, Poor kid. In the environment is being confined, and this to me is him being taken out to a more remote area, put in that box the way he was, and left. Yeah, I believe there was a man that found him and found the box and was shocked to find this poor child in it. I think I'm remembering that now. That could be him. He wanted to be found, and he would like the truth to be known. And the confusion about his life, what he went through, who he was, for that to be cleared away. Obviously. End result is a Page of Pentacles. Now this could be some sort of progress in identifying him through DNA, maybe tracing DNA to if they can use the family tree manner, they might be able to discover where he was from. But at the time, if this little boy, let's say, never went to school, let's say his mom had him without his registering his birth, and she may well have, he may not have record that way. But through other family, I'm thinking there's a possibility. For some reason, I have concern, and probably because there's been no identification ever that's been able to be made on this boy. And I have a feeling he was coming from a very poor situation, an unstable home, a very poor home, and I feel that he had a mother or guardian. There was a woman, she was unstable emotionally, mentally, and may have been predisposed toward addiction problems. Somehow a male figures in, but I'm shown this male after the death. I think the woman has more to do with the death than a man. I feel like this is maybe more of the guy finding him. This because I'm being shown him here being taken to a remote area and dumped. I think the future may yet hold identification for him. Let's pull some clarifiers. Okay, there's the Death card and a King of Swords. Maybe through the death of a male relative. Perhaps his father, the man that was his father, or a male relative. That's what I'm getting from that. So they might be able to trace it to a point, a family, publicly, getting an idea of what family he may have come from, working on it more. And I think they may come up with an identification, but it would still be a ways off. That case might eventually one day have at least the idea of the family that he may have originated or been connected to or related to. I think he will eventually be ID'd. Poor kid. Alright, so there is what I have for the boy in the box. I'm satisfied with that. I do think he was physically abused by a caretaker that wasn't well, and he looked at death as a release from that. I think it was not pleasant to be stuck with someone that was so unpredictable and cruel at times to him, to the point that I do think she did murder him, cause his death. Went too far. A male could be that. It could be somebody that was in the reading. That could be the man that found him. It could be, if it's not that, then it could be someone she was able to get to help her. I didn't see a father card, and I didn't really see a mother card, so I just feel like this kid didn't ever really experience that, which is sad. He just had abuse and instability, and I don't think he was always fed. I don't think there was always food to give him. I just want to look at him as a person now, despite the death and all of that. Let's just look at him as a person. The boy that we call the boy in the box, this young kid, child. What can you tell us, universe, please, about him more personally? Okay, this is the card of a decision. I get a feeling that his mother didn't stay put in one place. And I think largely because she didn't have the money, so she'd do a runner. I don't know why I'm getting all this. And I think she didn't want to have him, he was a mouth to feed, he was a responsibility. I'm kind of getting that vibe there. Let's just see, though. The card that crosses is the Seven of Pentacles, and it is what was in a challenge for him is to develop any stability upon which to base his life. Oh, that's sad. He didn't have anyone providing and helping him, nor was he able to do it himself to create a stable environment or be in a stable environment where he could grow as a human being. And I think that's largely because of the instability he dealt with at home, and perhaps frequent changes in environment. This has to do based upon definitely money, and this is based upon having the physical means to provide for and care for, just to live. He is crowned by the Eight of Wands. Activity again picks up. I think this little boy may have even been trying to think how he could make money, what he could do to make money. They needed help, and he needed help. And I think he was also trying to figure out how to get help, but he was not able to, I think, find a structure, find himself, get to a means of asking for help. Or when he had asked for help in the past, I just believe he was kind of, I just don't think people came through for him. He's left kind of in a waiting position and a hopeful position that he'll get a situation where he could have had a more stable life. I believe there's like begging going on for money, maybe even pickpocketing where he had to, shoplifting where he had to. I just think that he really didn't have any parent, anyone really looking out for him. Oof. And I think that for him, I just think that it was a hard life. And that son clarifies a decision I think that the parent made, that he was a burden, that they couldn't look after themselves, and they didn't care to look after him. They didn't have a means to provide that. It was too challenging, and they were constantly having to ask. They felt for help, and I think they wanted to be clear and free, or not. I don't know why you wouldn't take this child to why they wouldn't have left him at a police office or a church or something, whatever, at the time, just to be adopted then. But you're not dealing with somebody that has reasonable thinking, so this is again with the King of Wands. This is, I think, him being found again. He didn't really have a life. This is what's sad. It's a life of begging, of constantly being focused on food and a shelter, and not having that stability to build any kind of life upon. And it's moment to moment and going place to place. And his mother, I think, made the decision that he was just too much of a burden on her. Now there's a male here, but I'm getting this male being associated with having found him. I feel like there's some sense of setting him free in a way. At least he was found. That there's something there that he's very grateful for. I think he wanted to have more choices in life, better choices than he had. The deck was just, there was just no deck, that he even had to play with. This kid was at the mercy of somebody that wasn't stable or able to provide for him physically. It was his hope or dream that he would someday be a big success and live very well. And make his own money. Again, I got that sense of like he would be thinking of ways he could earn money or try to. Just bless his heart, God. Also, he wanted to be physically well. He didn't want to be hungry. But this is the end result, the Four of Cups. Low energy, I think through hunger, I think through also feeling disassociated, not feeling emotionally very connected to anyone. I think not understanding why he didn't have that in his home, because he could see that other kids did. So there's just this sense of waiting and hoping. And waiting to be found also. I don't know how long. I have to reread that, how long he was waiting. It may have been how long he was waiting to be found. But still, that his life was not satisfactory at all. Yeah, again, we're dealing with a mother figure that I feel like was not capable of being a mother to him. And I feel like she also found him just like she didn't know what, I don't know if she had brain damage or what. It's like she didn't know what to do with him. Didn't know how to be a mother. She may have also ended up in some kind of confinement, but I don't know why he wouldn't have gone to some kind of orphanage. He could have died in an orphanage. They were also known for covering up deaths and things like that. But I don't think so. I think he was in the care of a specific person, woman, that I think ended up having him dumped or being associated to his death and being out in more of a remote area. His mother just feels remote. He can't reach her. He can't reach her mentally, emotionally, any kind of way. Yeah, abandonment for her own, trying to make her own way. So you have a very cold person. A very cold person that, for, even if she didn't have even if she didn't have the resources, she should have brought that kid somewhere where at least maybe they would have had a hope of adopting him out. So that is my reading on The Boy in the Box. I will put some links to his case in the description box. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Please hit that thumbs up button, and as always, if you're going to leave a comment, I hope it's courteous and interesting. So if you're going to come on here and call me a bunch of names or whatever, you're gone. Okay, thank you. Have a great day.